Alrighty, guys, welcome back to it. Conservative Confucius here, back at it. It's Friday Shabbat Podcast, so let's get down to it and do it. Alrighty, guys, don't forget to go down there, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you ring the bell for notifications, and share this video if you like it. I appreciate you guys coming down. So Shalom Shabbat. Let's get down to it. We're going to be covering a few different things today. It's not going to be as long as my last episode, but I just did a long video for like over an hour, so we're going to be doing. If you guys want to watch that, you can. It'll be uploaded here in just a bit. It is the Candace Owens versus Shmuley kind of debate, highlight debunking for a lot of the things she said. I call out both of them, so don't worry. I'm not going to be taking a side on that. I just take the side of the facts, basically. And, I also let my opinion be heard because that's, my right as a human being. So let's get down to it and do it, guys. Don't forget to go down there and do all that stuff. Like I said, let's get to it. All righty, so... Yeah, Kirkwood parent claims teacher denied Holocaust, and yeah.
This picture was taken during Knifer Middle School's curriculum night back on August 14th by one of several parents who complained to the Kirkwood School District after they saw a Palestinian flag flying in a social studies teacher's classroom. One of those parents, who says she's a descendant of a Holocaust survivor, says she confronted the teacher and explained that not having an Israeli flag as well is insensitive to some Jewish students. She says that's when he shocked her by calling the Holocaust, quote, her version of history. Nearly 2 weeks have now passed. That teacher is still employed. Take a look at this picture.
So that is absurd. And I mean, it just like Candace had said something in the thing. She said, anybody who speaks out against Israel or Jews is immediately their life's ruined. Really? Because 2 weeks later and the teacher still hasn't been fired or anything happened. Well, if that actually happened, that teacher should be fired, not because they said something against Jews, but because they denied a historical event that killed over 12 million people, 6.7 million of them Jews, and yet people want to deny this. It's ridiculous. Not her version of history. It's the history. And people who deny it are ludicrous idiots like Candace, who say, oh, Mengele never did those experiments, or, oh, it just seems not very plausible that, Mengele would just sew twins together and take people's teeth out and switch them from head to another head. And it just seems very wasteful on money. And it's just, you think they were spending money doing these surgeries? You think they were literally spending money? No, they weren't. And do you think they were shortage on money? They just stole all our money, you dumbass. They didn't have any shortages on money. They had gold stockpiled up to the ceiling in warehouse after warehouse. They weren't going bankrupt. They were going man bankrupt. They were running out of humans to sacrifice to their cause. And not just my people. I'm talking they're on the war, on the battlefront. So you can't sit here and say that you know what you're talking about when you haven't even watched a Mengele trial where he openly admits to doing these things. Like, maybe then you have a better understanding of what happened. You should go and watch the Nuremberg trials. I guarantee you, Candace, maybe then you'd learn something. Because until then, you're just spouting off conspiratorial bullshit like always. Even Nick Fuentes, who I hate, the prolific anti-Semite of the internet, has called you stupid and lying and saying you're actually going too far. When Nick Fuentes says you go too far, you've passed the point of no return, basically. Let's hear from another former Palestinian terrorist about what he used to do.
והמאפיה והטרוריסטים האיראנים והקטרים שכל אחד מהם שייך למדינה אחרת בעולם ומייצג אותה כאן והורג את העם שלו וגורם לאסון ולמצור ולסגר ולעוצר ומשאיר את העם שלו ברעב ובעוני ומישהו מתנגד לשלטון חמאס בעזה הורגים אותו ברחוב ואחר כך אומרים שהוא שהיד.
Hamas just killed another man who spoke out against them online, made a big video, posted it online. It was a good quality video too, and said, it was on the beach and they just killed him the other day, like 2 days ago, I think it was. And I guarantee you the Hamas pro-Pali, crisis actors then took his body and made a whole video on how Israel did it. I guarantee you. That's just what they do, guys. So yeah, here's what's going on with illegal immigrants. It's going pretty crazy right now. Like I told you, getting $15,000 in food stamp and $5,000 plus in cash. More people are verifying it. It's going on everywhere, like I said.
I have $5,000 in cash money.
Told you.
But this was the first time I heard about it.
Yeah, I told you guys this, just less than a week ago? All of it verified right now.
I've heard it's 2 years free rent, getting Section 8.
Section 8,
first,
not 8.
Prioritized before the citizens.
Yeah, so they're putting citizens second to migrants. So illegal immigrants are getting benefits before we get benefits.
So the Venezuelan migrants that are coming in here, they are getting 6 months free rent, $15,000
in
food stamps, and on a credit card,
$5,000 in cash.
Cash. Oh my goodness.
And a credit card? Oh my God, and a credit card. That's insane.
How do the people in Chicago feel about that?
They don't know that. Half of them don't even know.
Because there's a lot of people, that need help with
Yeah.
Medicaid.
I need disability and I have never been approved for it. And I'm guessing people are, I got approved for it in one state, but it was crap there. The state I needed in here, which gives better disability, isn't giving it to me. Doesn't surprise me though. I got stab wounds all over my lower gut and hips, which keep my hips from being able to move properly. I have a gunshot wound in my leg, in my lower leg, and in my arm. I got all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I would show you guys more of this, but I can't because you guys know I'm still working on that longer video. I just trying to pay as much respect and take as much time as possible to be as respectful as possible to the footage from October 7th. We'll post it on Rumble or maybe make it a private video or something like that on YouTube. But it's gonna be a very, very heartfelt video. It's going to be hard to watch. So I'll say I'm putting all my heart into it. So this is from Arizona, where I live. Down on the border, it turns out that all of these lights and cameras are no longer working. Like the Biden administration shut off all the cameras, turned off all the lights, and the ones that were remaining, which were on the lower levels, have all been broken and thrown off.
Trump installed,
and Biden should have fixed it, but he hasn't. When Trump was going on, if any of these were broken, they were replaced within a week or less. Now they're months on end, never getting touched or even turned on.
all of this technology, some LED lights as well out here, and top of the line camera systems. Unfortunately, once Joe Biden took office, none of these were ever turned back on. And the cameras basically are non-existent out here, guys. This one's been broken into.
Yeah, they're trying to steal power from here.
Out of them has been peeled and stolen.
Yep. They've been stealing power everywhere. It's crazy. Yeah, every one of them. Yep. Stolen power, stolen power, stolen power.
All broken into.
Yeah. They've been stealing the power off of like so many different sites and stuff to try to whether it's charge phones or do whatever they need to. And then they'll move on. It's pretty crazy how you could sit on the wrong side of the border, meaning you've already crossed illegally. Instead of running into the bushes or going somewhere where you can hide, the first thing you do is sit down right next to the border wall and the road where Border Patrol goes down, and you sit and charge your phone and break into a power box, which could take you however long. That's insane. Why are we not doing anything about this? There is something I wanted to tell you guys about the migrant crisis. I could get in trouble for telling you this. I'm not going to mention who it's from. I don't want to tell you the person. I don't want to tell you where they are, but I can tell you everything else basically. So a while back, there was a woman, I don't know if you guys remember, on a radio show who called in and said she was asked by the government to allow migrants to stay at her hotel. And they said, okay, yeah. And she was like, we'll pay you double whatever you're making per year normally. And she said, oh, okay, yeah, fine. And then they just said, okay, well, can you take in like stuff for the migrants and put it in your storage? And she said, yes. Okay, well, then later, now recently, according to sources, she was asked, she has come out to a few people, and I've been lucky enough to hear through one of them. I'm not going to be giving up sources right now because it's just, I don't know if the government's going to get mad at me for putting this on YouTube. So I could be literally I'm going to say everything is abstract as I can while still being specific and not using any terms that they might be able to say are considered top secret information. So I don't want to be doing any of that. she was asked to take in freight, like large orders, like big things of freight. And she's like, well, I'm going to have to open up my private storage here at the hotel. And yeah, I guess I can do it. And so they started sending in wooden crates about this big. So about, you're looking at like a little bit longer than a rifle, and about like that wide. And then she started getting in smaller ones that were about this wide and about that tall. And they felt like they had a metal container in it that was really heavy. And she said, okay, well, whatever. And they had color-coded keys. Each one had a lock and a color-coded key, and they had a specific migrant they were meant for on each one. So each migrant would get their own. And they were all men. She was wondering why these ones were all for men. And then she got suspicious after a while, and she said, okay, I'm just going to open them up. She opened the long one up. It had a rifle, not supposed to say that, it had a long pew-pew, and it had a short pew-pew, and had a military garb, if you want to get what I'm saying. And it had, the rest of that with name tag and everything for the U.S., armed forces. Trying to think of the best terms that are as abstract as possible. Sorry, guys. I don't want to be, I could be sharing information that I'm not supposed to be, so I'm using terms that can obfuscate it in a way where I won't get in trouble. It's kind of like saying Skittles when you're saying drugs or something like that. Terms that you might have used when you were a kid to get away with things, or flour instead of weed and things like that. So so she opens up the second one, and what does she find? Little pew-pews. You get what I'm saying? And so I'm trying not to laugh at this. It's just I can't believe I'm having to say it like this because I don't want to get in trouble. But yes, so they found clothes for military. That's the best way I can say that. Large pew-pews, little pew-pews, and things for the pew-pews that get loaded into the pew-pews. If you get what I'm saying. That should terrify the living crap out of you. That they are, I'll say it, arming. They are arming and, I'll say it again, militarizing the illegal immigrants for possibly pushing back against U.S. American citizens, legal American citizens. And the reason why is one of two reasons. They believe that if Trump wins, this is my view on this. This is everything after this point is just me. This isn't from the sources anymore. I'm saying this. Okay. So I believe that if Trump wins, they will use these new illegal immigrant forces to push back against the American people and retake the country. Or if Trump loses, they will immediately use a show of force to make anybody who wants to stand up against the government because they feel like they got screwed out of another election. They're going to use this show of force to say, hey, you better not, or these guys are going to come after you. That's why they've emptied prisons and sent people who were in the military in other countries to here. That's why we have a mix of criminals and military, former military from other countries all coming into our country. And they're all military-age men between 18 and 40. You don't think this is a coincidence? You don't think it's a coincidence that cities are being taken over and other things? The government couldn't control these people as well as they thought they could. That's why they're ignoring the problem. The government has literally been paying city of Aurora, where Venezuelan migrants have taken over. The city paid for a protest to happen to make it seem like it wasn't happening. The city of Aurora paid protesters to go out there and say they didn't know what Tren de Agua was. They didn't know there's no gang problems here and blah, blah, blah. But that's bullcrap. It's BS. We'll get into that here, actually. You know what? Hold on. Let me go to that real quick. It is crazy. I mean, to think that people, they're the U.S. government and even cities are gaslighting the American people into believing something isn't happening when not only is it happening, but it's so obvious because people are dying. People's cities and homes are being taken over. It is truly astonishing that all this is going on and no one wants to actually stand up and say, hey, this is wrong. Something is going on. Something's definitely not right. And instead, people are who cares?
Something very.
So here we go. This is from Savannah Hernandez from TPUSA Frontlines.
Okay, so I just found out something very interesting about the East Colfax Community Collective, that group that put on the migrant protest yesterday. The one that was trying to change the narrative and say that Tren de Aragua is not overrunning that apartment complex that everyone's at. And that
multiple apartment complexes.
Yeah, that organization, I found out, is funded in large part by the city of Denver and the city of Aurora. Yes, the same city, the same government officials that have been trying to cover up this story and trying to downplay their migrant crisis. I found out that the organization yesterday that wrote out all of those signs in English for the migrants and told them, hey, if you don't want to get evicted, you have to talk about not Tren de Aragua being in the area, but instead these slumlords. Let's talk about that instead. That organization is funded by the city. Very interesting. Now, I'm also on the ground with Frontlines reporter Jonathan Cho. He went last night and he spoke to a different migrant who lives in this apartment complex that wasn't a part of that protest yesterday. And this man was so frantic trying to pack because he shares that migrants have been getting extorted, that he specifically has been getting extorted, and that, quote, Mexicans have been going door to door and asking people for money on top of the rent they're already paying. So Jonathan Cho is going to be coming out with that story from the same apartment complex. And I wanted to give you guys an update on yesterday's migrant protest and the organization that put it together. By the way, the leader of yesterday's protest is the same woman that wrote out those 13 demands for migrants.
By the way, I already posted something on this video on my Twitter. I don't know if you're going to see it here, if they show it, but right behind her, there's a red SUV that has a red SUV and a couple other cars. And one of the tents next to them has a Palestinian flag on it. So these people, these migrants coming in, they're not peaceful people looking to live in America and under our values. They support our enemies.
Saying, migrants, stay living under this bridge. Don't go to the shelters until the city meets your demands. I'll write them out for you. Those demands were they needed to be provided with culturally appropriate food, unlimited showers, a meeting with the mayor, free immigration lawyers. Yeah, what? That's this group.
Are you kidding me? That is insane. These people doing this, these communists helping these people out, are unbelievably destructive, and they hate our country. Like, why would we ever expect any of these pricks to help anybody in this country? They help themselves and they help destroy our country. It's truly disgusting. Palestinian, this is from Open Source Intel. Palestinian Islamic scholar Sheikh Mohammed Kudura. Once Palestine is free, no Jewish grave or Hebrew word will be allowed. We will erase every trace of them, of Jews. Palestine is a bride whose dowry is paid in blood. Our martyrs are welcomed with joy.
إلى هذا الشعار يجب أن تزول إسرائيل من الوجود. نقول له للإمام
Israel must be eradicated from existence. And rest assured, in your paradise, O great Imam. This slogan will be realized soon, Allah willing. This is how disgusting these people are. Like these people, they don't want peace. This is, I know I'm going back and forth between two things going on, but that's kind of just how we do things on here on Friday. But yeah, and it's insane that someone could say, "Oh, I just support the Palestinian cause." It's like that this is the Palestinian cause. This is them. Until the Palestinian cause has a clear definition of, hey, this part of it is not our cause. This part of it isn't our cause. And they separate themselves. There's no point in, like, when every other group, you tell them, hey, you guys need to separate yourself from the radicals. Everyone tells Jews, you got to separate. We do. Everyone tells, people on the right, you have to separate yourself from the more radical people. And we do. But when it comes to the left and when it comes to Islam, you never tell these people to separate the more radical parts. And when you do, they just say, nope. And then everyone's like, okay, fine. It's like, what? You have people marching who want to eradicate Jews from the earth next to people who just think the protest is for getting Palestine the land back and the Jews go and can peacefully live together and everyone can practice their own religion and live in peace, except for not one Palestinian in Palestine currently has ever said anything like that. And the ones who do are either forced to go to Israel because they'll be killed or they are killed. That's it. the difference between us and the Israeli enemy is that while we welcome martyrs with ululation, exclamations of joy, rallying cries, they are mentally defeated. This manifests in their wailing and screaming and disbelief and denial and other forms of anguish. So they're saying, because we mourn the dead, because we mourn the lives of the people that have come and fought for us, that makes us weak, because we show anguish when someone dies, instead of celebrating and using their body like a prop, in a corpse prop for propaganda. In the wake of Al-Aqsa flood, the Palestinians no longer need to pin their hopes on any kind of negotiations whatsoever. We do not trust or pin our hopes even on the Arab League or the GCC. We pin our hopes on resistance and confrontation alone. The enticement of a ceasefire will never allure those whose goal is martyrdom, victory, and liberation. This would work with those who want this world, but those who want hereafter have completely turned their backs on this. Because the Palestinians have become more aware and they understand better. This guy talks weird. That the gun is the only way to liberate Palestine. They're saying killing is the only way to liberate Palestine, and that the Israeli enemy must be eliminated from Palestine in eternity, or entirety. Sorry, entirety. And so they're saying all Jews must be wiped from the face of the earth and in Israel for the Palestinians to ever have Palestine again, for their cause to be complete. As I said in the past, after Palestine is liberated, we will not accept even a single grave of a Jew remain in Palestine. So no trace or memory of them remains. That's exactly what Hitler did. He was trying to remove the trace of Jews from existence. And it's the same thing every racial group has ever done to anyone. They want to remove them from history and say, no, they didn't exist. They're no longer, no more. And it's insane that you have people who are, natives and Native Americans. Most natives stand with Israel, but the ones who don't, it shocks me that you're hearing, you could hear something like this. Maybe they haven't heard it. And if they did, maybe they changed their mind. But this is absurd. This is from Palestinian media. Like, how is it that someone could sit here? This is from Egyptian media, actually, I think.
الكلام العبري سوف يشطب ويمسح. يستبدل بالكلام العربي والكلام.
Yeah, saying all of the things in Palestine will be replaced from Hebrew words to Arabic words and the words and the language of the countries that stood with Palestinians.
اللغات الدول اللي هي وقفت وساندت الشعب الفلسطيني.
Yeah, disgusting. This little boy talks about how he's been, treated like crap at his school. He says, I don't want to go through the whole video, but yeah. So some of the things, and this, by the way, a lot of what he's like saying, I get on Twitter in some way or form. So on multiple occasions, people have thrown money at me. I've had that happen. Throw pennies at me. I've had other students give me the Hitler salute. I've had people send me memes of Hitler saluting and other stuff like that. Your family should have been gassed with your ancestors. A guy just said that to me yesterday. Said, well, gassing and fumigation didn't work. What else can we do with you guys? And yeah, and that's just one of 100 different times people said to me, oh, should put you back in the oven to cook a little longer or something like that. It's insane. His teachers were kefias and hateful shirts and other things. Yeah. And people say that Israel is an apartheid state when literally Jews aren't allowed in their own schools like this. So Jews aren't even allowed on campus in Toronto. It's been Toronto is very bad right now.
They said that we are anti-Semitic.
I wish you made it all you guys, bro. And the world would have been a better place.
They said that when we march in the streets, we are a hate mob. They said, and they continue to say, that we are terrorists.
Yep.
we are not fighting for peace, we are fighting for liberation, because peace is a white man's word.
The university has handed over their property to these guys. They're in charge. They're in charge of letting people in, letting people out, and you're letting them.
Take your opinions and shove it up your white ass.
I would like to get in. They're not letting you in because they think I'm Jewish.
We also want to make sure that everyone here is pro-Palestine.
I'm trying to get in.
I don't think that's going to happen.
If someone touched me like that, I'd punch him in the face. I'm sorry. That guy isn't even a freaking student. He's just some huge Arab dude who's come there to be security for them. And we already know that George Soros is funding these. I did a whole video on that. I'll link it in the description. We know that also that Qatar is funding them. We know that there's another organization that was funding them recently. I just did. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I'll look for it in a minute. But yeah, there's multiple groups funding this that are not just pro-Palestine, but like connected to terrorism and multiple other things. It is truly disturbing. Look at that asshole. This guy comes up here with a glass bottle in his hand, ready to hit somebody. Look at that. Look at that. Right there. See? These guys aren't freedom fighters or liberators. They are thugs looking to take their violence out on someone, to extort power over others and feel like they're powerful. It's not about standing up for something you believe in. It's about extorting power over people. If this is really about standing up for what you believe in and willing to die for something you believe in, you would be like Gandhi. You wouldn't be blocking things off. You would be being peaceful, and you would just stand there while everyone else can go about their day. And if you did that, you would turn so many people over to your side rather than the other way. But instead, you do this, and people despise you for good reason, you hateful assholes. See, look at these people. They're disgusting.
They're just saying they won't let us in.
He's not even a Zionist. He's just a biker who goes here.
Leave Palestine alone and go back to Europe.
Really? Because 72% of the entire population of Israel is of Middle Eastern descent, or Sephardic Mizrahi Jews, meaning either North African or Middle Eastern, or Iberia, so like Spain, Greece, Italy, southern parts of those places. And then the rest are there's like you have 20 or around 28% are Ashkenazi Jews. So yeah, why are we sitting here saying go back to Europe when if they really wanted to go back to the countries they came to before Israel, which technically, if they go back before those countries, they're in Israel. But let's just say they go back to the last one they were in. Okay, well, Iran, Iraq, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, all those countries have zero Jews in them now. Why? Because they forced us out. Why? It was before the Nakba happened. It was the moment the war ended and they realized that Jews were going to come, Jews were no longer going to be killed by Hitler, and they are even going to be able to go back to their homeland. And they said, hey, we don't want any Jews anywhere, so we're kicking them out. The war may be over, but our war isn't over. So they kicked out all of the Jews in their countries. And most of those countries have zero Jews. The most, I think Morocco used to have 245,000. Now they have less than 1,000 Jews in all of Morocco. Iran used to have over 70,000. Now they have one. I don't even know if that's true anymore. I mean, it could be dead. That's insane.
I wonder how that makes Jewish students at the University of Toronto feel.
What about go back to Europe? What's the...
He's not European. Look at us.
Realistically, that's where they came from.
Oh, he thought he was a Jew. You see people, it's not where they came from.
Students are scared to wear the Magen David. They're scared to walk around being identified.
She's not from Europe. Look at that.
Jewish.
She's Middle Eastern.
Tell people I'm Jewish. I just feel safer personally that way.
We're doing a projection right over here because the fucking U of T president Gertler is Zio fucking, he's basically a Zio. Look at this, I just noticed. We're walking back to the camp. Bloomberg Hall. Bloomberg is a Zio. Zios are got their freaking hands everywhere.
You gotta run the whole world. Just Jews run the world.
27 days into this pro-Palestinian occupation, and dozens of U of T faculty members have come out to publicly back the protest.
There's a lot of faculty here. Of course, we also support our students and their demands.
This is the best model of university education.
What the fuck? Sorry. They're reading Hamas books now in English. The one solution term, like when you say there is only one solution, Intifada revolution, the phrase there is only one solution is an echoing of the final solution, as in Hitler's final solution. And it is disgusting to ever say anything like that.
Hamas is
terrorist organization.
Not a terrorist organization.
What happened on October 7th when there was almost 1,200 people massacred in Israel that day?
It's retaliation.
Take a look at this sign here.
So what about
Glory to
if they can retaliate, Israel can't retaliate back?
All martyrs.
Those triangles,
That's a symbol
by the
that
way,
glorifies.
It's not just glorify terrorism by Hamas. The symbol, the red triangle, what it actually signifies is in Hamas videos military videos, where they would show them killing like an Israeli soldier or blowing up a tank or, hitting a Israeli military place. When they would do that, they would use the red triangle to mark targets. So it was a way of marking a Israeli target. And so that's what this is. It's the way to say, I don't understand why they think it's a good sign, but they're walking around with a symbol on them that's targeting. It's meant to say, kill this person, basically.
Is terrorism by Hamas. That sits at the front of the encampment. Nobody has had any consequences for any of these actions. Nobody, not a single person, has been expelled or suspended for any of the conduct.
You are not allowed inside, plain and simple. Anti-semitic revolution!
It's crazy. Yeah, you guys should go watch the rest of that from Canary Mission. I watched the rest of that documentary. It seems really good. It's crazy. So if you think that you want to hear what people, Arabs think about, Jews, here we go. So yeah, I can either read it to you guys or read it on the set. You can read the subtitles. The subtitles are up and they're clear. So I'll just let you guys read it.
وقف مع اليهود بالحرب مع انه كثير واضح مين معتدي على الثاني. التاريخ اللي بنكتب على ورق صعب انه يتزور او ينمحى. بالعصور الوسطى الخنازير كانت عايشة باوروبا ومش اسف لانه مش انا اللي سميتهم خنازير. انتوا اللي
So he's saying that the Europeans used to call us pigs. That's what he's saying.
هيك على حسب اللي انتوا كاتبينه بمراجعكم كانوا كثير قذرين معكم عايشين بينكم.
Yeah, so he's saying that Europeans used to think that Jews were filthy and they were pigs and that they kidnapped children.
أطفالكم ليعملوا من دمهم خبز
and make bread from their blood, which makes no sense.
اقرأ عن إشي
Physically impossible.
تشهير الدم. أنتم ما قدرتوا تتحملوا أفعالهم ولا إنهم يعيشوا بينكم لأنهم أشبه بالحيوانات. دائما ريحتهم طالعة ولا تطاق وجيرتهم لا تحتمل. كرهتوهم لدرجة إنكم حركتوا منهم 6 مليون كلب وبعتذر من الكلاب على التشبيه. بكتبكم أنتم كاتبين إنه المكان.
So he's saying, you guys say all these things. You guys said all these things. You did all these things. Why would you expect us to live with them? That's what he says in the end.
موجودين فيه بتكون نسبة الحروب فيه أعلى وما في استقرار بوجودهم. فكان الحل إنكم تدعموا وجودهم على أرضنا. مشان هيك اليوم
So he's saying that's why today, as soon as we respond to their attacks,
ما نرد على اعتداءاتهم مطاراتهم بتتعبى.
Their airports will be flooded and they'll return back to your land. Is that what you want? And that he's basically saying, if you don't, then side with us.
ارجعوا لعندكم وهذا آخر إشي.
And this is the last thing you wanted to happen. That's why you sympathize and support them, because you don't want them to come back to your country, he's saying.
وبتدعموهم لأنه أهم شيء القرف ما يرجع.
Because pigs never go back to your land or something like that. I don't know, hold on. Because the most important thing is that pigs never go back to your land. So you're saying the reason that Europeans are helping the Jews or supporting them, or Westerners are supporting the Jews, is because they don't want them to come. They don't want the pigs to come back to Europe. It's the most disgusting and anti-Semitic argument you could use, and it's really stupid and baseless. But hey, these people are just too far gone sometimes, it seems like. Alrighty, guys. I think that's going to be it for this one. I appreciate you guys coming down. Shalom Shabbat. Don't forget to go down there, hit that like button, hit that smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and don't forget to share this video if you guys like it. Like I said, though, make sure you go down there, subscribe. Really helps us out. Alrighty, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. You guys have a good one. Alrighty, Shalom Shabbat.